Alright guys, Red here. Welcome to Star Citizen News. In this show we'll take a look at what's been happening around the verse, whether that be social media, Reddit, YouTube, etc. And we'll take a wee look at what's coming from official sources as well, to give you a weekly Star Citizen summary. Today, which is the 19th of January 24, I was thinking we could start off with some dev responses. So, first up we have user Spinoza on Spectrum who's asking how the replication layer testing is going on the CIG end. The response from CIG's Nakao, sorry if I butchered that, is that it's going well actually. And round 3 will be live on the tech preview channel, so that would have been Thursday, for around 12 hours, and that will have the server recovery enabled. So everything looks like it's progressing pretty smoothly on that front. If you're in the preview channel a lot, let us know below your thoughts on how things are going. But from what I can gather, it seems like things are coming along at a decent clip, and hopefully nothing breaks in any major way. Next up, the user named Asume, probably, is asking for more health for the grav bikes in order to prevent them from blowing up all the time. They've went to a lot of trouble here, we've got diagrams a lot. They even suggest having a boost mode that can extend the airtime in a bid to avoid objects and ground clutter. Montic from CIG responds that usually pursuing a band-aid solution is not advisable, as this wouldn't solve the actual problem at a gameplay level and may lead to undesirable or unforeseen circumstances elsewhere. Also, disproportionately increasing the health pool of certain vehicles doesn't seem like a great idea either. I'm paraphrasing this obviously, but he did go on to say that they are in the process of cooking up some improved tuning and small fixes for all the bikes in the game, and these should resolve or at least dramatically minimise the described issues. So, I don't know about you, but I read that as, there ain't no way you're getting jump boost fills, so just forget about it. But we might be able to make things a little smoother and let you bounce off a few of those rocks that will definitely not just pop out of nowhere on the horizon. Also, possibly what they're really saying here is, if you're going to fly across the desert tundra at 600 meters a second on a mere broomstick, if you so even much as think about a rock. But yeah, I do get it and I do hear it a lot, and it's definitely in need a lot of that balancing, in my opinion. Buzzcut Psycho has been on the Spectrum asking, with the introduction of master modes, has there been any consideration to removing the auto aim? Now what he means by this, if you're not aware, is that even when your guns are fixed, there is the tiniest little gimbal on there that just helps them on target. So he's asking if we really still need this, as him, and other people he's spoken with I'm assuming, are finding the master modes a bit too easy to land shots, now that the flight model has been changed. Yogi Clat replied, "We're not set on the aim assist values yet. Personally, I'm not a big fan of reducing the aim assist too much, because it will encourage players to ask for faster rotational accelerations, so they get more pixel accuracy, which then turns the combat model from flight centric to aim centric. But we're happy to try out more variations of this." I honestly don't do enough PvP stuff myself to comment on this, but it sounded important so I thought I'd throw it in here. He also went on to mention the outdated Master Mode's user interface, and said there is a current implementation already running internally and should be in for 3.23 if all goes well. The next question was about how throttle input disables cruise control. Now the point that they are making isn't really that important for what I'm about to say. The important part to understand is that the current way we use and understand cruise control will likely be removed, according to Yogi. The interesting thing, and this is definitely probably not considered news to a lot of people, is that now we have the option to toggle between absolute and relative axis control. This is already in game. Now I haven't really messed around with this, but it sounds like it would be a far better way of doing things than what we've used in the past. On top of that, reading further down the post, this user, Vashant, says, "For anyone having trouble with the new style of cruise control, my advice is, unbind it completely, as it has been already functionally replaced by the far superior and more flexible function called engine trim. Bind engine trim set hold and engine trim reset tap to whatever key/button you used for cruise control. Speed up to the desired velocity and set engine trim by holding the button. When pulling back or pushing forward on the throttle, ship will speed up / slow down respectively, and when releasing, return to whatever speed you engaged the engine trim at. It will not turn off until the pilot has specifically engaged the engine trim reset function. So this function has been in the game for more than 2 patch cycles apparently, but with to bear in mind that the UI is currently not implemented to support it, as Yogi says here. As far as I remember, we actually wanted to remove this until the UI is ready, but quite a few users wanted to keep it, so we kept it, but yes, the UI is not ready for it. So this sounds really nice to be honest, but there are 1 or 2 people after that saying right now I can't really work with it because I can't tell where my engine output is sitting, and I sort of have to guess where my throttle is and in what state the automation is in. I mean, personally, I was pretty happy with cruise control just being a button, but this does sound like it might be more intuitive in a way. To be honest, I didn't know anything about this. Did you guys know about this? It does sound similar to the velocity limiter toggle, but I guess it would reduce the need for another binder axis. I use pedals, so I'm used to having cruise control on a lot for stuff. And the OP does sort of have a point about it disengaging at the slightest touch of an axis, but I do feel like there's a more intuitive, better option being given here for what would be losing if they took away cruise control. But let me know what you think. Would this negatively affect your setups in some way? For me, it would free up an entire axis. Anyway, next up we're heading over to YouTube, where £10.42 has a possible solution for getting some extra performance in Star Citizen using lossless scaling technology. Now, he does go out of his way to stress that this might indeed not be for everybody, and may only work for certain people with certain setups, but the software to enable this is pretty cheap, and if this sounds like something you might be interested in, head over there and watch his vid, the link will be below. Next up was a video podcast from a little channel I stumbled across. You've probably never heard of it. Only joking, obviously it's our favourite space salad ingredient, and he had on a guest called Lone Vault Wanderer. Now, Lone Vault Wanderer doesn't play Star Citizen, and that's what made this so interesting. Basically the premise was to find out from an outside perspective why the public has sometimes such a negative reaction to Star Citizen, and what the average perception is of the game from the outside looking in. Obviously the price of things got mentioned and the delays etc, but it was pretty insightful and touched on how the media has been an influence and clickbait and things like that all play into things. After being behind the scenes for a while, it's quite easy to forget that there aren't really other games out there with this funding model, so it must look pretty strange to a lot of people, but you should definitely go check it out if you missed it. It was definitely very revealing. Next up we had the Idris leak, so close your eyes if you don't want to see this, and I'll tell you when to open them again. Playing footage in 3, 2, 1. So I have to talk about this obviously, but I almost didn't want to see it myself, so plenty of you might feel the same. And I'll keep the comments pretty general so as to not give anything away. But basically somebody posted footage of them walking around inside their Idris, and it's just wow. Like, I don't think I ever truly stopped to think about how big these ships are going to be. Like, it's too big. Annoyingly big even. Like, you need to take a bottle of water to get from the bridge to the hangar basically. But, yeah, wow. Just wow. Right, moving on. Links in the description to the whole thing if you're interested. Next up we've got some Reddit shenanigans. We've got an arc light pistol someone has 3D printed, and it's just absolutely sick. Obviously, hats off to MJ Tech who posted this to Reddit. Next we got this DHL mock-up paint by Whistle Lock. I know this will never be a reality, but it would be cool if one day Star Citizen got pretty lax about modding and stuff and just let us go wild. Then we got some cool 3D printed med pens. I've seen this done before, but these are defo on the more premium end of that craftsmanship. Well done, Wawatoma. These are sweet AF, my friend. Then there was this guy, who is showing us how to track players using a Tiger Claw. But you essentially pick a certain mission, then plant your Tiger Claw, and then it gets marked, which allows you to follow them around. Then you make your attack at an opportune moment when they least expect it. Pretty cool. I definitely never knew you could do this, and finding stuff I never knew about Star Citizen is like my favourite thing. believe it or not. Next up was a discussion about bunker turrets targeting everything, ground units as well as air. There was some good arguments on both sides here, and for the longest time, all I've wished for is that turrets would stop targeting hover bikes like they do for the other ground vehicles. But this convo ended up convincing me that yeah, it is pretty daft that the turrets don't shoot at ground vehicles, to be honest. I say shoot everything, and let the players come up with ways around it, as long as at some point we can EMP them or manually disable or hack them or whatever. If that's the case, then I'm all for it. After that, we've got someone blowing up 6 Syulens for some reason. Mostly because it looks awesome, would be my guess. And it does. It definitely does. Then we've got a LEGO 890 jump. I mean, I'm so jealous of folk who can sit and do this stuff. I mean, look at that. I've got a mad sweat on just assembling a few toys at Christmas. This is a genuine technical masterpiece in comparison. Apart from all that good stuff, there's a ship sale on right now. It features all the ships from 2023, so the A1, the C1, Arasta, Cutty Rambler and Scout. The F8C is back and on sale if you can find a golden ticket in game. All 3 Furies, the Hull C, the Lynx, the SRV, the Santok Yai, Scorpius Antares, the Storm and the Storm AA, Syulen, Vulture, the X1 series and the Zeus series are all back in the pledge store. There's also a good few Warbond CCUs available as well, so if you need your pockets lightened, then that's the place. And remember to pick up something for your old pal Red whilst you're in there. The Daymar Rally takes place on the 20th, which is a massive 500km race. This will be streamed live on Atmo eSport and will no doubt be absolutely epic, and I'll definitely be tuning in. I'll leave a link below. And that's it. That's all for this week. Remember, like and subscribe to get more Star Citizen news delivered straight to your Mobiglass feed. Big thank you to my channel members, Nils Gerdes and Spacecraft. If you have any friends looking to get into Star Citizen, please use one of the codes on screen now to get some extra starting credits when the game goes live. Thanks for watching. 07 guys.